Hello, this is Kate from Daily Tarot Girl, and this is your weekly tarot card reading. And for this week's reading, I'm using a new deck that I just got. It's called the This Might Hurt Tarot by Isabella Rotman. And I'm having a lot of fun with this deck. So my intention for this week's reading, as always, is to get an overview of the week ahead and just get kind of a snapshot of some of the energies, opportunities that might be coming up for us and how we can make the most of them. All right, so I'm just gonna zoom in here. Okay, so let's begin with the first card, which is for the beginning of the week. So Monday and Tuesday of the upcoming week. And here we have the King of Wands for the beginning of the week. So the King of Wands is a very powerful figure. And in this version of the King of Wands, this king is female. But the King of Wands really represents confidence, and it's kind of this almost a sunshiny attitude of confidence and having a lot of zest for life and feeling very passionate and inspired about whatever it is that you're doing. So I love that we're starting the week with this kind of energy. So what I get from this card, I'm getting a few different things. So number one is you want to lean into your confident side. So if you tend to not have a lot of confidence, the beginning of the week is a good time to focus on kind of bolstering your confidence and really leaning into your more confident side and trying to kind of cultivate more confidence. And if you're naturally confident, great. You can just lean into that confidence a little more. Now, the King of Wands is a leader, and I feel like this card is really encouraging us to step into that leadership role in our own lives. So I feel like this is about charting a course for yourself, making decisions, figuring things out, getting your priorities straight, and just getting things done. The King of Wands knows what he wants, or in this case, what she wants. He knows what needs to be done. He knows what kinds of actions to take. And so the beginning of the week is a good time to lean into this side of your personality more. Another important thing about the King of Wands is the King of Wands is motivated by whatever it is he's passionate about, or he or she, whatever they're passionate about is what gives them fuel and energy for whatever they're working on. So the King of Wands isn't the kind of character who can work really hard on a project that isn't important to him. He has to be passionate about it. It has to be important to him in some way. And so if you're feeling low energy at the beginning of the week and you want a boost in energy, the reason you might be feeling kind of unenthused or low energy might be because you aren't directing your energy into the things that fire you up, that you're really passionate about. And I get that sometimes our days are filled with tasks that, yes, we're not that passionate about, but they need to be done anyway. But just making sure that you have something in your weekly schedule that you are passionate about, that you can devote some energy to, that's really going to go a long way in motivating you and giving you more energy. The other thing I want to say about this king is that she's sitting next to the fire. And there's something there about comfort, like she's warming herself by the fire, and there's a feeling of creature comfort with that. I think that's another thing to lean into at the beginning of the week. Making sure you stop for a moment, take a little break, and get comfy. Whether that is making yourself a hot drink, or if it's hot where you are, making yourself a cool drink, and just taking a moment to recharge your batteries. It's funny because the whole time I've been talking about this king, I've been saying, this king is confident. He knows how to direct his energy, and he's passionate, and et cetera, et cetera. But this king, she's sitting down. She's not actually doing anything. She's just sitting there. And again, this is an interesting message. It's like you can still get a lot done even without doing all the doing. Or let me explain what I mean by that. You can still get things done without being super busy and run off your feet. So the other thing I get with this King of Wands is it makes me think of like staring into the fire, or like staring into a candle flame, and how that act can sometimes allow you to kind of switch off your mind a little bit and kind of go into that trance state. I get something similar when I'm in the shower, if I'm like washing my hair, or if I'm going for a walk. It's like that repetitive thing allows me to just kind of move from a fully conscious state into this sort of interesting, almost a dreamlike state. And it's when we're in that state that we sometimes get really good ideas, and we get these creative ideas and inspiration. And so the King of Wands is reminding you that the beginning of the week, you might feel tempted to drop a big to-do list and get motivated to start your week. But the King of Wands is saying, yeah, that's all great, but also know that less is more. You can actually get a lot done by doing very little, but just putting a lot of energy and presence into those few tasks you do. That's going to get you a lot further down the line than doing a whole bunch of little things frantically. So this isn't a card of busyness. It's like work smart, not hard. And making time, making room to just allow yourself to kind of gap out, to stare into the fire, stare into that candle flame, and let your mind wander a little bit. All right, let's look at the next card. So this next card is the Hermit, which is a really wonderful major arcana card. And the Hermit, the Hermit is for midweek, so kind of like Wednesday, Thursday-ish. And I love the Hermit. The Hermit is about getting comfortable being alone. This isn't about being lonely. This isn't a sad card. It's about enjoying your own company. It's about spending time on your own and, just carving out that alone time where you can just be with yourself. That's going to be really helpful, I think, this week. This is a very spiritual card. I think of like meditating, going for long walks by yourself. And it's not about thinking. It's not about ruminating, like spending time alone so you can think about things. It's not that. It's more about being than doing, and thinking is kind of a form of doing. And so the Hermit is more about being. So it's about just being present, just being in the moment. I think I often, when I see the Hermit, I think about, what is your relationship like with yourself? What kind of a relationship do you have to your soul, to your spiritual side? Okay, so full disclosure, I have to tell you, I filmed this video yesterday, and something weird happened with my camera, and only part of the video got filmed. So the second part was okay, but the first part of the video somehow got erased. And so what you've seen right now, I had to kind of redo the reading. So I'm going to switch over to the other film that I filmed yesterday. So you'll notice the lighting and everything is different. It's going to look a little bit funny. But we're going to continue on talking about the Hermit. So the Hermit is really about like getting to know yourself and who you are when you aren't surrounded by others. It's about dropping that temptation to identify yourself according to your relationships and who you are to others. You're more than that. You're more than, who you are to others. So what does the Hermit mean for us midweek? The Hermit is encouraging you to carve out some alone time for yourself this week. It doesn't have to be in the middle of the week necessarily, but sometime this week, spending some time alone and being able to consult yourself when it comes to making decisions and figuring things out. This is especially true if you often find yourself wanting to reach out to others when you have to make a decision and wanting to get other people's input or advice. What would it feel like? What would it be like to make a decision on your own without necessarily consulting the people around you? Now, what I'm really taken with these two cards is how similar they are. Both figures are holding a wand or a staff, and there's this source of light in both of these cards. With the Knight of Wands, we have the fire, and with the Hermit, we have the lantern that she's holding up. And with both of these cards, I feel like this theme of confidence and being kind of the leader of your own life, that seems to be the theme of both of these cards. And the Hermit almost reminds me a little bit of the Fool in that she's on the edge of a cliff. She's right kind of on this little precipice. But instead of walking forward, she's pausing like to contemplate, and she's holding up this lantern to light the way, to try to find her way. So I feel like this week a challenge might be around finding our way and figuring out what our next steps are going to be. But let's look at the last card. So this card is for the end of the week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and oh my goodness, we have the Devil. So we have another major arcana card. Now the Devil has a very different energy to the King of Wands and the Hermit. Okay, so let's have a look at this card. I'm gonna bring it a bit closer so you see what's going on here. So there's the Devil figure who's smoking a cigarette, and then there's all these people down below, and they're drinking, they're making out, they're fighting, all kinds of debaucheries happening here. So the Devil is all about patterns, habits, addictions that are not helpful, that keep you stuck and stop you from being free. When the Devil shows up in a reading, it's usually because there's a part of you that is longing for more freedom. And it's time to create that freedom for yourself and become aware of those habits, those patterns that are keeping you stuck and keeping you kind of unconscious. If we look at what all these people in the crowd are doing in this card, they're going through these motions, they're doing things in kind of this unconscious way. The one guy's guzzling from a booze bottle, there's people fighting and arguing, and the Devil kind of asks you, what habits are you engaging in that might actually feel satisfying in the moment? Like maybe arguing with people online, or drinking a lot, or even smoking cigarettes, or shopping mindlessly. What kinds of behaviors are you engaging in on a regular basis that might give you a sense of satisfaction in the moment, but ultimately just keep you spinning your wheels? Once you start to become aware of this, you start to shed light on it, just like what the Hermit's doing. You start to bring awareness to that. So the Hermit, in some ways, is very opposite to the Devil. The Hermit is about awareness, and the Devil is about unawareness, being kind of unconscious, these unconscious habits and patterns and addictions. So that's what I get with the Devil. The weekend is a good time to start to shed a little bit of light and just ask yourself, like, what kinds of patterns or habits do I have that may feel very satisfying in the moment, but are ultimately keeping me stuck? Okay, let's look at all of these cards together and see if there's any other themes or anything else. I think I've said pretty much everything. I feel like this reading, like the beginning of the week, starts with this real sense of confidence. And then as we get to the Hermit isn't so much confident. It's more, I don't know if you've ever heard that phrase that like foolish people think they know everything, but those who are like truly wise realize they know nothing. It's like realizing how little you know with the Hermit, realizing how asleep you really are as you start to wake up. And then the Devil is just saying, hey, look at this thing, pay attention to this thing. The Devil can also represent temptation. So you might actually feel tempted this weekend to engage in behavior that, again, isn't going to be healthy for you in the long run, but might feel very satisfying in the short term. So just kind of being aware of that and bringing in that awareness that the Hermit has. So really interesting week. It will be interesting to see how this shows up for everyone. So I just want to say thank you for watching. My name is Kate. I'm also known as the Daily Tarot Girl. Please check out my website, dailytarotgirl.com. I'll put the link below this video. I've got tons of really fun tarot videos and lots of fun tarot spreads. I just posted a new spread to my blog, a new summer spread. So there's a lot of fun stuff for you to check out. And again, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a really good week.